Check, check. Are we live? Check, check. Check, check. Are we live? All right, a little bit of a delay. Just cross-checking, but we'll get started here shortly. Let me just make sure the other videos are working. We'll get into this pretty soon. After you see the white disclaimer video, we'll get into it pretty soon. Sorry for the echo in the background. Just seeing what delay I have from my end to your end. All right, looks to be about a 20-second delay or so, but that's okay. Welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there's greed. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you all are enjoying the Friday live streams. Let me hydrate. Not able to do these on the weekend as much. I know that probably works better for some of you, but we'll do these on Friday. If you guys have any requests as far as certain times, days of the week to do these, let me know in the comments below. Also, I've been mainly going over, it seems that what the viewers of this channel, the subscribers have enjoyed, have been going over the crypto market the most. I do go over some stock stuff because the stock market does affect what the crypto market does. And I go over alt season, Bitcoin mining stocks, all that sort of thing. So if there is any crypto content outside of that that you would like for me to cover, let me know in the comments below. Go over a few indicators. I try to condense it, not separate videos as much into all the different things, but I've thought about doing that. Maybe having videos specific for just one coin or one indicator. But I think that'd just be a lot of content to swallow for a lot of people. And instead, what I'm trying to do, or at least I'm trying to show you the way I view the markets, and I look at a variety of factors, indicators, charts, to make informed decisions. So I feel if I'm doing too many separate videos, too many separate indicators, alts, stocks, that it'd just be too much to consume. But let's get into it. Let's start off with fear and greed, shall we? Let's do a little refresh. Make sure we're up to date. So crypto, fear and greed, we are down into fear. Getting pretty low. We are on this minor downtrend, and we'll take a look at the chart, see why that is. But as far as stocks go, stocks, after having a little dip, went up into extreme greed. As far as pie vesting and CNN, right on the border of extreme greed. So I've been wondering if stocks have been front running crypto lately, and when stocks, I think pie vesting shows us better. Sorry, that's my cat's automatic feeder. Ignore that noise in the background. When stocks went up into extreme greed before, crypto went bullish. When we went down, it took a week, but then crypto went bearish. And so I'm wondering if crypto is going to get a little bit of a jump. Seems like the stock market's a week or so ahead. Let's take a look at a couple of macro indicators. And this one is just something to keep an eye on. And that you see is during election years, between these lines, this is October to November. So there's typically higher volatility going into the election in the month of October. And that doesn't surprise me. We'll look at the S&P 500, but the last couple of years, October has been the low. The low of 22 was in October. The low of 23 was in October. I do believe we'll double check that. Talked about the Fed rate cut before, something to keep in mind. 50 basis point tends to be worse for the markets in the near term. However, the Fed is not meeting this month. So they did do a 50 basis point cut, but that's spread out over September and October. So I'm looking at it as a 25 basis point cut. And I think there's a lot of other factors in the charts to lead me to believe that we are more in a 1998 style scenario than a 2007, 2008 scenario. Also, the stock market has been following more of this dark green line. This vertical line is the rate cut, and the stock market typically goes two ways. And yes, stocks affect crypto. Usually goes recessionary or bullish. And right now, the S&P is in all-time high area. So we are already moving on ahead. The rate cuts were nearly a month ago, is September 18th. And so you can see by about 2 months on average, we can sort of tell whether or not the market's going to continue being bullish for the next year or not. And right now it's looking like it is. So we talked about fear and greed. Anything new? Not really. Just waiting to see if it makes a lower high. As we get into altcoins, do know that eventually, right now is accumulation time. In my opinion, I'm not as much a trader as I am an investor or a trade vestor, at least with crypto. And when Bitcoin dominance tanks, that tends to be when alts do pretty well, or at least the last two cycles. As far as the alt season index, we haven't had any of these spikes like we did in 2020, 2021. You had the two spikes. This was the true alt season right here, but I'm waiting for this first spike. We did get a pretty good amount of alts running earlier in this year, around, I guess you could say this spike right here, but overall not alt season yet. Yes, some alts already have done a 10x, but when it spikes up here, I'm telling you, I haven't been around in 2017, 2021. It's a time worth being in if you have the correct alts. As far as the Bitcoin rainbow chart, we talk about this every week, so subscribe if you are into this type of content. Just taking a look at the last couple cycles, you guys can see that after the halving, or the peak around the halving, the mid-cycle top, let's say, typically Bitcoin does go down a couple of bands here. In 2019, it went down 3 to 4 bands, but 2016 just 2. So maybe we're going to get a base somewhere in this accumulate zone. Maybe that's already happened. But if it is to go down further, and again, I'm taking a look at the lower price of this third box, so that teal box, you can see that price there right around 50,000. 50,000, that's near a couple important indicators that I'll show you on the charts. And why not? Let's take a look at the charts. Where's the 50K number? Well, for one, it is the macro 786, draw fib high to low. We have the 786 here at around 50K. Right? There's a couple other things going on. Bitcoin's been in this descending channel. If it breaks underneath these daily moving averages, right now you can see we were red for a couple days. Now we have a big doji. We'll see if it holds. But if it breaks underneath this 200-day moving average, we have this area of the trend line around 57K, the lower end of the channel around 53K, and then 50. So I think that's a lot of different supports, good supports. And if you want to take a look at more macro style, we have the 50-week moving average at around 55 right now. So plenty of supports in here, 100-week moving average around 47. Again, we talked about in the rainbow chart, lower end of the teal zone, they're around 50 at the 786. Something to consider. And this is just a comparison to last time. No one's saying it has to happen. But after the Fed rate cuts, the first cut and the mid-cycle top, when Bitcoin was around the 50-week moving average, that was the last best time to buy. Now, we don't know. You can't plan for black swan events like we did with COVID. So who knows if anything like that's going to happen. But as long as Bitcoin is near or under the 50-week moving average, in my opinion, this is a mid-cycle top, and here is good value. And I'm looking for a Bitcoin top. My guess is somewhere around 150K, and I'll show you why that is. So when we take our fib, it's a good way to look for price targets. We take our fib low to the high, take it off log scale at 2618, it's at around 155K. That's also around a $3 trillion market cap. Now going back in time, when we draw fibs from other highs to lows, we can go backwards and do this, but you can see the top got near the 3618 for Bitcoin last time. So this time I expect it to be weaker. The 1618 to the 2618. That's 100 to 155K. Going back before then, and we'll keep showing you this, guys. If we go from the high to the low, you can see it's off the charts there. I believe it was at the 6618, something like that. So we are just going to, whoa, not the 16618, my God. I believe I did this once before and it was at the 6618 extension. No, it was even higher than that. My God. Let's try 8618. We're getting closer, but you guys get the point. The point is, we don't have to find it out right now. It doesn't matter. But the point is that each cycle it does get weaker as far as these Fibonacci extensions. And that's basically what the rainbow chart's trying to show as well, is that Bitcoin has diminished returns. Part of having diminished returns, it's not a bearish statement. That's just Bitcoin becoming less volatile over time. And that's why I think it's important to talk about the rainbow chart. Now, the rainbow chart, last time it was invalidated. Something to note is that you guys can see here, this is a rainbow chart last time around. See how it's way above the red band in 2013, 2017 got up to the top. 2021 just got up to these orange zones. And so if you just take a look, it goes down a couple bands each time. Here it was in the upper red. Here it just got down to the orange, so 2 to 3 bands down. So again, 2017 here, 2021 here. And so 2024, I'm looking at it around this green zone. This is on the former chart. So if we go out, to April, you can see there in that zone, that's right around that Fibonacci price target. You see there, 160K, right? That's the old rainbow chart. But again, if we're taking a look at the 1618 extension, that's not far away from the 2618. And I just showed you that each cycle, the price hits a lower Fibonacci extension. So last time it's 3618. This time I'm looking 1618 to 2618. And I know that's not what a lot of people on YouTube and X are telling you. They're telling you 1 million Bitcoin, 500K Bitcoin. And I think that's very ridiculous as far as the pattern has gone. Now, can it get there eventually? Yes, I believe so. But in my opinion, conservatively speaking, I think this is what we have to look for. Also, it just feels right that if it got near the 2618, again, that's around a 3 trillion market cap. You can see this right here. So 1.25 trillion. Well, if we double Bitcoin, 60 times 2 is 120. I know it'd be around 125K. That would already be at a 2.5 trillion. And we go a little bit further from 125 to 150K. This is near 3 trillion. The reason why I find that coincidental is that is where the market caps are for the top stocks in the world. Apple, I hope it's showing up here on the live. Apple has market cap 3.47 trillion. Microsoft 3.09 trillion. Nvidia 3.31 trillion. So I just think if Bitcoin is to get stupid bullish, that 3 trillion number near where the top stocks in the world are, near the 2618, that is the target I am looking for. But again, the 1618, here's something interesting about the 1618. It goes straight out to this green vertical line. We have an average of 300 days from a new all-time high to the eventual peak. That puts us at the end of this year. That's also where the 2 points of the last cycle reach to. They all converge here. And that's also where this trend line that Bitcoin's been in love with since the bottom reaches to. All those reach that point. So I am very curious to see what is going to happen with Bitcoin at the end of this year. Is it going to be around this 1618 area at 100,000? Comment below. Do you believe Bitcoin is going to be at 100K at the end of the year? Now, as far as the rainbow chart is concerned in cycles, you guys can see here, top was in December of 2013. Next cycle after the next halving. Top was in December 2017. Next cycle, the very top was in November 21. However, things were different this time because alt season was here in April. Remember, after COVID, there was stimulus printing, rates were at zero, and that just sent the market into overdrive. Don't you know, pump it up. So I'm wondering if we're going to get a 4-year cycle somewhere around April of next year in 2025. And again, if we're going from these highs, how we go down a zone each time, I'm looking at the orange zone as a top. If we get a top in April, let's take a look at the orange zone here. Again, the early part of that orange zone is right around 155K. That number keeps coming up. So I am curious to see if Bitcoin is going to top next year at around 155K. Now, earlier today, I put out a video on the state of the stock market, things I'm looking for. I won't go through all that again, but I did say I was going to talk about the SP 500. It's in all-time high territory right now. And I also showed you this chart before that. After rate cuts, on average, when the market is resuming bullishness for another year, that we typically get into all-time high territories within a month or two after that rate cut. That is what's happening. So I am expecting more of a 1998 style scenario where the market still has another year, give or take, to run. The 50 basis point, again, I'm not concerned about the number as much as I am about the rate and the speed of which the Fed cuts. They cut by 50 in September, but they're not cutting this month. So that is an average of 25. We have to get off that 50 number. A lot of people too obsessed with that 50 number. VIX, we're having a little spike this week, but really not much. I was expecting more volatility this election year. I don't know about you guys, but outside this volatility spike on the yen carry trade where the S&P went down 10%, I'm sort of surprised by the low volatility this election year. It just something seems off with that. Whereas 2020, obviously, COVID, that was crazy. And maybe that's why 2020 was so crazy as far as volatility, that it sort of desensitized us. But something else to keep in the back of your head is that when the yield curve uninverts, let's put this on the weekly. When the yield curve uninverts, typically a bottom of the market can be about 1.5 to 2 years from then. So uninversion, the red vertical lines, market bottom, 567 days. Uninversion to market bottom, 637 days. Let's just say it's an average of 600. And so if we are averaging somewhere around 600, give or take, you can see at the bottom, that puts us June of 26. Can there be a bottom June of 26? I think that lines up with the crypto rainbow chart. So you can see here from the bottoms. By the way, let's take a look at these bottoms, where the very bottoms are. Let's go to the Bitcoin chart here. And let's clean this up a little bit. Let's zoom in. We are going to make this easier to see. Get rid of one of these fibs here. Okay. So Bitcoin bottom, you could say here, January 15, August the 15, okay, 2015. So that would be saying the next bottom would have been somewhere around 2019, okay, 4 years after that. Well, 2019 was here, but early 2019, there was a bottom there, okay? All right, so going from this, 2019, around 4 years after that, 2023, kind of. The very bottom was late 22, so close enough. What's 4 years from the very bottom of late 22? Well, that's 2026, okay? And that lines up again with what we talked about with the yield curve inversion, the average to the next bottom. So I'm thinking bull run in 25. Oh, we got a comment. Magic Mather, welcome. I'm thinking April as well. Yeah, we'll see. But something else to keep in mind, guys, this is I feel like this is staring at me. So you see these secular bull runs, how they can go on for a while until they crash. We've been in a secular bull run. You see this channel since the great financial crisis. We've been in this for what, 15, 16 years? And so the upper ends of this channel is like 6 to 7,000. So if the S&P is getting 6 to 7,000 next year, guys, I think that might be the top. And that'll coincide with Bitcoin topping, whether it's in April or later. I'm leaning more towards April. We'll see. But again, as I showed earlier in this video, where is it? Dominance. We're waiting for dominance to go down. Now, I've seen the arguments out there recently that now there's this argument that now that ETFs are a thing, Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs, that maybe dominance isn't going to roll over as it has before. That money is just going to keep flowing. This is the narrative, by the way. I'm not saying it's what I believe. But the argument, the narrative is now there's ETFs. Big money's just going to flow into Bitcoin. It's going to stay less volatile. It's not going to rotate into altcoins. I disagree. And the reason why I disagree is you can take a look at any of these altcoins. Well, we can take a look at Link, Solana, Pepe, any of them. Take a look from September to March, how much a lot of these went up. I mean, Fetch.ai, that was another one. Okay. October, September, whatever, to March. Okay. Altcoins were still doing 5 to 10x out there, the right ones. And I think this is a precursor. This was for the mid-cycle top that we had, like in 2019. So I believe that alt season isn't canceled. I'm not buying into that narrative that all because there's these ETFs that alt season isn't going to be a thing. Who knows? That could be. But you can see right here, this is the alt season index. It is Bitcoin dominance. You buy alts, Bitcoin miners, and the last 2 cycles, you had about a month, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, when prices just went ballistic. And that was the time to take profits. So the tops here coincided with the first dip and correction bounce in 2017, the tops 21. And so I said, okay, where was the first sort of correction where it held? That was right here around 62%. I'm waiting for Bitcoin dominance to get up near 62% as the peak. I'm not saying it is going to happen. You can see here we have convergence of these lower highs and all this mess back here. But really, this is a range, and now we are within that range. Bitcoin dominance can tank anywhere from this range down to the low 40%, and I'd be fine with that. So speaking of altcoins, let's take a look at Ethereum. Gotta love that trend line, and hopefully it holds. But again, if we get any election year volatility, and you can see this is October right here, are we going to get any random giant election volatility in October? I don't know, but if so, that might be the last best chance for deals on crypto. And I'm leaning more and more towards that direction because I've seen so much FUD out there in the news, on X. It seems, one, less people are interested in crypto, so that tells me it's a good time to buy. Fear and greed, well, you guys can see here that, let's go to the past 3 months. Fear is in the market. Okay, good time to buy. You want to buy when there's fear. And I will say opposite though, like on the other side of the coin, the one reason I wouldn't be bullish, well, 2 reasons. One, the election volatility, but 2, Bitcoin didn't really bottom until rate cuts stopped in 2019. So is that going to be the case this time around, that monetary policy that we'll have to wait till rate cuts pause until we go up? Sure, but I don't know when that pause is going to be. It might be sooner than later because, for one, there's been a couple bullish things in the market. One, unemployment rate has ticked down, and 2, the inflation rate has also gone down. Remember, the Fed has a target of 2%. So those have been bullish catalysts in the market. And what reason is there? Ask yourself this. What reason is there for the Fed to keep cutting and not pause if unemployment is going down, if inflation's going down? If anything, they would consider pausing and maybe even raising rates. And we'll just go to the U.S. interest rates. I want to show you again the 1998 scenario I'm looking at. So we're going to go on a little journey here. All right, here we are. So you guys know that the peaks were in the great financial crisis, okay, interest rates, dot-com bubble. But where is 1998? Right here, okay? After they cut, they even went back to 95, but I'm feeling 98 right here. They only cut a couple of times before holding. So if the Fed does something like this, I don't know if inflation is going to reaccelerate or not, but if as soon as they pause, I think that's going to be go time for Bitcoin and crypto. That's just what I'm looking for, okay? And with where the jobs numbers are, where inflation is right now, that might be a case to argue that the Fed will pause sooner than later, which will be bullish sooner than later for crypto. That's why that stuff is important, but we will see. When November comes, we'll see what happens with the Fed. Are they going to cut 25 basis points, 50? Are they going to pause? Then we'll have a better idea. But sadly, we have to wait till November. And just my opinion, because I care about that more than the election, I'm interested to see what the Fed's going to do in November. I care more about that than whatever the election's going to be. So let's get into, we'll just take a look at a couple altcoins there. I know I have a couple Doge fans out there. And let's take a look first at market cap. I was talking with someone about this recently, about where the top was market cap wise for Doge in 2021. Okay, the market cap was around, I know it's higher than that. Oh, that's 22. Just scroll left, man. So here, 98 billion is what it's showing. Was it really near 100 billion? So it's showing it spiked up to 98, 100 billion. Okay. Where's Doge today as far as market cap? It's not showing up there. Let's go to coin market cap. So Doge at around 16 billion. So all up to you if you believe it can get back to those all-time highs. But something, I'll keep making this argument. I'm not saying this is going to happen, by the way, but it is something to be careful of. We have to go to this one, is that many of the altcoins that did great, chips and salsa, Doge kind of not pissing me off. LOL. All right. I'm glad I did this. I think we have a psychic connection, man. I could feel your presence in the room, so I started talking about Doge. But again, we can see XRP only got up to the 786. So many altcoins that did well in 2017 only got to the 786 in 2021. So I'm just saying, keep this in the back of your mind. And full disclosure, I have some Doge. I've accumulated some over here when it was at around 7 to 8 cents. Okay. Feeling good about that. But think about what your plan is now. If we have alt season, Magic Mather and myself are sort of leaning towards an alt season in April. If that's the case, you want to have a plan now and how much profits you're going to pull at different levels. Something is cooking. I just joined right as you started talking about Doge. That's awesome. So you can see here, let's go to the daily. We'll get a better look. So chips and salsa, I will say it does concern me that we've come back down to this trend line. However, what I would want to see is Doge stay above this trend line. I don't mind that it's at it, but I don't want to see it get well below it. Otherwise, it's Doge stinny. That horrible pun, but I love it. Always one for dad jokes. If it does get under, though, again, one of the hardest things to do is have patience and remove our greedy emotions when the market isn't doing what we want. But if you believe in Doge, that it's going to do a 4x, a 10x, whatever, if it gets down to this 9 cent level at the 236, look at how well it bounced off that the last couple times. I would be a buyer in Doge at that level. So I hope You guys, like, I know it sucks to see it go there or even underneath the 236, but how about let's consider, what if Doge continues to break higher? Okay. What if it does what XRP can't? I am I know you guys aren't going to like to hear this, but I am leaning towards Doge being the new XRP. XRP at 2017 might be Doge at 21. And I would say the same. I believe that's going to be this cycle. Solana. Solana is going to be what Doge was last time, what XRP was the time before. So if Solana is the darling altcoin this time around, which it's shaping up to be, next cycle I'm going to be talking the same smack about Solana. And again, it doesn't mean I like or dislike it. I like it now, just I might not like it later. So we took our fib off log scale. What are some targets for Doge? And again, let's consider market cap. The 1.618 is at $1.16. Okay, so let me pull up my calculator here. I'm just doing this on my phone, so you're going to have to trust me, bro, on this. So we're going to take $1.16 at that 1.618 divided by our current price of 11 cents. Okay, that's a 10.5x. Let's go over to market cap. What would be a 10x from Doge's market cap? So you would believe Doge can be at $160 billion. Do you believe Doge can be $160 billion? Got up to $100 billion last time. Hell, let's go further. The 2618 is at $1.85. So we'll take $1.85 divided by our current price of 11 cents. Okay. We get a factor of 16.8. We're going to multiply 16.8 times 16. That will be $269 billion. Do you believe Doge can be worth $269 billion? Well, if it got up to the 2618, that's what you would believe. Okay. Do I believe that? You guys know my opinion. But I'm just sharing in a mega bullish scenario. Could it get somewhere there? I just want Doge to do a 2 to 3x at this point. I'll be happy. Chips and salsa, I would feel safer with my money in an altcoin like Doge than I would in some of these other things like Jasmine, Pepe, some of the other new altcoins that are out there or ones doing well this cycle. Stay away from Tron, by the way. Not financial advice, but in my opinion, having used Binance in 2017, and they pissed me off in 2018. Justin Sun, the owner of Tron, in my opinion, he is the Chinese Sam Bankman-Fried. Y'all know what happened with FTX? I feel Justin Sun's going to be the next guy. So you know how we had BitConnect in 2017? That was the scam that sort of unraveled the market. We had FTX this last time around, Sam Bankman-Fried. I'm putting Tron near the top of my list and Justin Sun of one of the top altcoins that will implode in the future. Maybe that's what'll lead the bearish cycle next time around. I think it only goes above all-time high if Elon is really cooking something up with X payments, Tesla stuff with Doge. Maybe. My constructive argument against that is, do you feel it? This is my opinion. I'm not a pro or anti-Elon guy. If anything, I like how Elon pushes the boundaries of, electric cars and technology with SpaceX, all that. I'm a fan of some of those things. I do think he goes on some rants sometimes I don't love, but all bias aside, do you feel that Elon pumping Doge this time around or talking about it in the public is going to have the bullish catalyst or injection as it had last time around? Because this is my opinion. I feel like Elon's just more unpopular now than he was 4 years ago. I don't know if Saturday Night Live, the liberal comedy show, would invite him on as much. And again, it's not a shot at liberals, conservatives, anything. It's just he's sort of separated himself from I think half the people that supported him. A lot of people leaning left like electric cars, so I don't know. I feel like he's done some things to shoot himself in the foot, is all I'm saying. So I don't know if he's going to have the influence. He's even tweeted about, by the way, being the Department of government energy, Doge. He's talking with Trump about that too. And chips and salsa. I encourage you, if you haven't already seen, if you've been on X, you've seen it, but the new robo taxi, that thing looks friggin' ugly. But so does the Cybertruck. I'm starting to see Cybertrucks around my area, and cool. Hey, if you can afford one, I'm happy for you. But what were we talking about before I went on that tangent? I apologize. We were talking about, is money safer in some of these altcoins like Doge? I believe so. But again, I think the expectation would be, if you get into Doge, a Litecoin, one of those older coins, you can't expect a 30x like it's done before. Pepe might be the Doge this time around. And if Pepe got to 80 billion, that's a 20x. So stuff like Pepe, as stupid as it is, that was Doge last time around. Fetch, it has AI in the name, and we're in an AI bubble. That's one I'm watching. That one's already ran hard. Let's go over to Fetch. This might be a fun, educated gamble. I don't even know what they do. But if Fetch got down to the 60-cent level, I myself personally would be a buyer on Fetch if we can get there. What are your thoughts on election starting the spark for bull run in alt season? Magic Mather, I think that's an interesting narrative. I don't buy it personally, and I'll tell you why. A couple of reasons. One, this is general election years since 1950. What's this line right here is right before the election. Q4 is always bullish, pretty much. It's almost always bullish. And in election years, on average, look how bullish that is. It's extremely bullish. So people will paint whatever narrative they want. Trump wins. The economy's doing great now. The stocks are doing great. It takes so much time, in my opinion, for someone being president and their policies and all the things that they plan out to have an impact. And I think that's reflected in the yield curve inversion and the Fed rate cuts. That's why we pay attention to these things, because you guys see that on average, after the yield curve inverts, where's the bottom? There's a lag effect to it. So in my opinion, there's a lag effect. And I think this is the elephant in the room right here, this yield curve inversion. I think that lag effect is eventually going to have a big impact on the market. Now, it's not a 1-to-1 ratio, but typically the deeper the inversion, the worse the recession. Typically. Doesn't mean it has to happen, but I think that is going to lead to the market lows in 26, whether it's Trump, Kamala. I think the writing's on the wall for some negativity after this secular bull market is finished. But again, I'm bullish in 25. It goes along with the 4-year cycle. We have the 4-year cycle here. Well, let's take a look, actually, now that we're at the rainbow chart. I've talked about this orange box, in my opinion, being the top, but you guys can look at the other ones. Let's go to the middle of April. So 4-year cycle from that first peak from 2021. Orange box, 155 to 204K. That's the 2618 to the 3618. Again, going over to our fib, you see the 2618 to the 3618, 155 to 208,000. Now remember, last cycle, Bitcoin got to the 3618. And remember, this rainbow chart shows that we have diminished returns. We are going down in these zones. Now, people have made the comparison that Bitcoin, after the ETF, might be like gold, as it was many years ago, and it just goes even more parabolic. Sure, maybe, I don't know. But just by the way that the Bitcoin cycles, crypto cycles have rhymed, I would expect somewhere around that orange box. But, maybe it gets 170K, maybe it gets to 124K in that lighter orange box. I don't know. But my exit strategy is based off that. Another thing to look for, let's take this fib. Let's take this fib away. It's bothering me. It's taking up too much space. Let's take a look at the pi cycle indicator. Okay, I know some of you guys like this. Now, do you know that this pi cycle indicator, it does not have to flash again? If we have diminished returns, there will come a time when the pi cycle indicator stops flashing. So 2013, it called the high and the low. 2017, 2018, it called the high and the low. Last time, it did not. The ultimate high was here. However, this was alt season, so I'm fine with that. This helped us out. This was the low, in my opinion, until we got a black swan event at the low. I think that's what this extra 9% correction is from the bottom. So this would have been the low without Sam Bankman-Fried being a piece of crap. And we had a black swan event at the low. That's what I'm chalking it up to. But you see what happens here to get the pi cycle high. It has to get not just to that moving average, but above it. Mid-cycle top, it only got to it, got smacked down. What happened this time? We got up to it, smacked down. That also coincided, this is another chart to watch, tether dominance. Let's take this off log scale. We're going to have to hide the pi cycle thing just for a moment here. But whenever tether dominance, and if any of you viewers don't know what tether is, so it holds value around $1. Okay, it's less volatile. People convert their crypto into tether as it becomes more volatile. But when the market's in a bull run at a peak, it hits the tether dominance line. It hit it at the 2017 top, the 2019 mid-cycle top, the top before the COVID dump, the double top I just showed you, and it just hit it this time around. So there's a couple indicators right there to watch for. Let's do this correctly. Okay. But we need to get back up to that Bitcoin pi cycle high moving average. Where is it right now? Right now it's at 113K. Remember what I said about the Fibonacci extensions? Right here at around 100K was the 1618. The pi cycle high is going to be, as I showed you, it gets above that line. So if it's already at 113K, not only would Bitcoin have to get to, or 114, whatever, not only would it have to get to that moving average up here, but it would have to get above it. And that 2618 number, 155K. I don't know, maybe it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and every time I see something around that number, I'm just convincing myself more and more. Here at Market Psychology, we want to be conscientious of our bias. So I will admit that's a bias that I'm locked in on. Every time I see that 150K number popping up, I'm like, oh, there it is. It proves me right. But that's something I'd be looking for. While you guys are here, I see we have 9-10 people live. Let me know if there's any altcoins or Bitcoin mining stocks you would like for me to take a look at. All right, we'll get rid of this pi cycle dude right here, and we'll add on our buy sell signal indicator. Let's just go through some of these. Link, I wanted to take a look at Link. I like Link. I have some Link, but right now it's, Chips and Salsa said Doge has been pissing them off this last month. That's me with Link. But hey, if Link gets down to this 236 at around 870, I'll be a buyer of Link. I will happily pick up some more down here. ICP, I remember around March, people were loving ICP. It's at that 236, might be a decent time to buy if you like ICP. Jasmy, getting under that 2 cent level. It is holding on to this 382 really well. But you know what's going to happen as soon as you buy Jasmy, because you're like, hey, it's holding the 236. It's holding these 150 moving average on the weekly. You know what's going to happen. As soon as you buy it, yoink. it's gonna get cut in half. So if that does happen, guys, have conviction, do your research. If I buy Jasmy right now here, if I like it enough to buy it here, I have to be ready to buy more if it gets down here. You have to have that type of conviction in your place. If you're not going to buy more when it's down here, you shouldn't be buying it in the first place. Otherwise, you're just buying the hype. Somebody said SUI. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Solana. All right, let's go to SUI. Sweet. I hope I'm on the right chart here. Let's take a look at crypto market cap. I thought this was one of the top 50. Maybe I'm thinking SEI. I just want to make sure I'm on the right altcoin. If you're in the comments below, just confirm if you don't mind. SUI. Oh, number 19. Okay. So number 19 altcoin. Number 19. What? Oh, 21. $5 billion market cap. Guys, just something in general to think about. I'm taking a look at any of these altcoins that are not chain link and above, or near protocol, getting somewhere around a 50 to $100 billion mark at the top if you get in the right ones. So that could be a 10x. If you believe in SUI, that might be something to look out for. So what do we got right here? Is it really that new of an altcoin? Could have sworn I've heard about this one before. I just want to, it looks like it's the right symbol. So it's challenging the all-time high area. Let's draw a fib from the high to the low. Okay. So if it gets rejected, then you'd take a look for it to go somewhere around the 786 first, as well as the 50 moving average. You do see the 100 and the 200 down here at the 618 at about $1.21. If we take our fib off log scale, take a look at some of those higher price targets. Newer altcoins are more of a gamble, but this thing can turn on the jets sooner than later if you get in the right new altcoins. So something to think about. It could fly. Heck, if we're talking about a 10x, then this would be going to 20, and this would be getting way above all these fibs. You'd have to add on a lot more. So let's actually do that the other way around. Let's draw a fib from the low to the high. Let's just get up to around what a 10x would be, and take a look at some of these levels that we would have to look for. Look at that. It's right at the 618. So I'm just thinking of this like in the future. If it did a 10x, got around a $50 billion market cap, these might be some important levels to watch for in advance. So I don't know more about SUI other than I've seen it pop up on X time to time. So I'd be curious to see what the community is. I'd have to do more research. But overall chart looks strong and promising. Someone asked about Solana. Here are my thoughts on Solana. Okay, first of all with Solana, this time around, this is my honest to God opinion. In 2017, the altcoin, the top talked about altcoin, was XRP. Last time around, XRP underperformed. Okay, got to the 786, didn't do so hot. People can cite the lawsuit, whatever. I don't care. Last alt season, 2021, the altcoin was Doge. This time around, it is without a doubt, in my opinion, Solana. And I could see Solana getting somewhere around 500 billion. And I believe that goes along with Solana getting to 1,000. So if we drew a fib, I have a couple fibs here. Actually, let's get rid of these just for a second. Forget what I was doing back then, but let's get rid of them. But it's just playing around, drawing a fib low to the high, doing the thing I do to take a look at price targets, take it off log scale. It's like, what if Solana got up near $500 billion? It would put it near the 3618 and the 4236, between 908 and 1060. And that's in the most bullish scenario. So that's what I will be looking for Solana. And I forget where you can see it, but it was basically a moving pie chart graph of each cycle is showing different cryptos, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. And you really could only see the top 5 to 10 cryptos in this. And what was happening was that as phone ringing here, as time went on, Solana's taken up more of that pie chart. It's taken up more space. And so the way that other altcoins took up an equal amount of space the last few cycles, I feel like I'm explaining this like an idiot, but the way XRP sort of took up more of a percentage of the crypto market in 2017 is what Doge did before 21 is what Solana is doing now. So I'm bullish on Solana. I don't own any Solana, full disclosure. Right now, I do not own any, but I think it is the top altcoin. I'm more of a degenerate when it comes to altcoins, and I like some of the smaller cap altcoins. I'm looking for some of these plays. Link is probably my largest holding. Jazz me some others. Tell me something for Pepe. Well, I don't know if you heard it before, But I feel Pepe might be like Doge this time around. And if Doge is going to underperform, I think Pepe is going to be the meme coin. And I would not be surprised to see it get around 80 billion like Doge did last time. That's a 20x. So that's what I got for Pepe. We can go over to the chart. I haven't looked at Pepe in a while. We can go over to the chart and take a look at this. Man, look at all them decimals. 5 decimals. It still amazes me how people. Here's another thing. Like, I think they do this on purpose for meme coins, and do know there's like no utility or use for any of these. But all because the number's smaller does not mean it's worth less. Again, a lot of people don't know this, but you see how small that number is? Look at the market cap. Okay. Internet computer is worth less, and that number is bigger. Okay. But again, market cap. So it's a little trick that a lot of people don't realize. But as far as Pepe, yeah, I think sky's the limit. I think sky's the limit for Pepe. I know it already ran recently, like into March. You can see where some of those targets are. Let's zoom in way in here. Zoom way in here. So what was that? 5 zeros and a 7, and it got up to 4 zeros and 11. So was that about a 2x there? Something like that? I don't know. We can measure it. Okay. Yeah, at least from the recent bottom, it did that. But before, where is that? The March top here, or May top? God, if you would have bought Pepe down here, 5 zeros, or yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros and a 12, up to 4 zeros and 17. Any of you lucky enough to buy Pepe back here? Get a 1,400% return? That's crazy. Clore AI is going to be a hidden gem. Clore AI. I'm not familiar with that one. Clore AI. Again, I stick to altcoins on Coinbase and Robinhood. I've done my degeneracy in the past. Clore.ai, number 745. Let's take a look at this piece of junk. Sorry, no offense. We're going to take a look at it. But like, if you hit on any of these altcoins that are below the number 500, then you've done your research and you deserve all the good things that comes with it. So, man, market cap 26 million. You know what they call that in stocks? That's a penny stock. Clore.ai. Let's take a look at Clore. We'll take a look at it. It's on MEXC. Be careful of MEXC, people. I've heard or talked to people who they've done well on MEXC, and then they had trouble withdrawing near the highs. So do check the liquidity of the coins. If it has low liquidity, it can be hard to withdraw. So do look into that. You don't want to just throw your money at these pieces of crap, and then when they run, you can't withdraw because it's got low liquidity and you're waiting in a DMV line. So do be careful. That, again, is a reason why I've done the degenerate stuff 2017. That is why I stick to Coinbase stuff and Bitcoin miners. Actually, let's take a look at Bitcoin miners. Any of you guys in the Bitcoin miners out there? Mara underneath the 0.5. If Marathon gets down here, 13, might pick some extra up. Now, last time the top mining stocks got between 20 to 30 billion market cap. This time around, I'm looking 40 to 60 billion dollars, in that range. So I believe mining stocks could do well. And it's so funny to me, by the way, how I remember the top in March and before that with the Bitcoin ETF approval. When mining stocks were doing well, It was all these articles, CNBC and others talking about, well, there's the halving and there's half the amount of Bitcoin being mined. That's going to create a supply crunch. These are going to do great. And then when it started going down, coincidentally enough, the same websites put out articles. Well, half the amount's being mined, so it's going to be half as profitable, and half the amount of miners will be out there. Guys, you got to see through the BS. But right here, it's at some key daily resistance. That's a 50-day. If it gets rejected off that, gets down to $7, I like right around $7. And also, here's something to think about. If Riot were to continue being bullish, look at these tops from 2017, 2021 cycle top, and look where it could go. We're talking a 20x. So let's take a look at a couple more. I know there's some Cypher fans out there. Got reclaimed the 618. It's in an upward trend. That looks good, but it's been bullish. So if there's a little pullback to 330, I wouldn't be surprised. Wolf. Terrorwolf. Yeah, getting rejected off the 0.5. So do not be surprised to see it in the mid to low $3 range. ARBK pissing me off. ARBK, Argo Blockchain, LOL. ARBK. Oh, sweet. Is this it? Yeah. You know what, though? I haven't charted this, obviously. This looks like a bottom, higher lows. You see how it's going sideways? Like, I get it's pissing you off, but when did this come out? This came out September 21. Okay. This kind of reminds me of, what was it? Clean Spark, the mining stock. And guys, this is why I keep saying you got to be careful of all the altcoins and miners that come out near the tops, because look, yeah, it went up to $20 from 16, but then look how much it fell off. Okay. This is what happens. A lot of IPOs. This is why you want to wait a year, 97%. But right now, it looks like it could be forming a bottom. We'll get that fib as close as I can. Put it on a log scale. I mean, it's got the 236 here, but we have higher low. We have accumulation. If this is one you believe in, I don't think this is the worst area to buy. Let's go to the daily. Now, if it gets to the 236, sure, but look at these lows here. It's not really creating lower lows. It had a bounce off that low. If it does get below that recent low, then yes, you see some of these points is what you look for. You could get it around $1 to 95 cents, but again, I feel like you're pinching pennies there. If this is something you really like, believe in, is this a Bitcoin miner, by the way? I assume so because it's a stock. I'd say this is good deep value. So I know it's pissing you off now, but again, we're waiting for alt season. And Bitcoin dominance shows when alt season comes, that's when all these go. Okay? It doesn't matter what it is. That's when all these go. Doesn't matter if it's a stock or a crypto. Let's take a look at when was the tops of Riot. February 21. Remember, the top was April. That's when dominance was tanking. It went up middle December. That's when Bitcoin dominance was tanking. So I know it sucks being down here, but you might be in one of these areas, man. And once it takes off, again, we have like a month. Bitcoin dominance, we get 6 weeks or a month. That's what's happened the last couple times. Maybe this time will be different. We'll get 2 months, 2 weeks. I don't know. But when it gets low 40s, that's when I look at taking profits. Or if the price targets have been hit. And guys, if you're buying any of this crypto stuff right now, literally, I'm giving you homework. Write down your price targets right now. However you go about it, if you use fibs, whatever, write down your price targets now and where you will withdraw. Because when we get into extreme greed, again, this is what my channel is all about. When we get up into extreme greed, you know what happens? People hold on and they don't take profits and they miss out on millions. Think about the Doge guy, the Doge millionaire last time. He thought that was going to go up forever. again, don't be too greedy. Set your targets now. Literally write it down and just say, no matter what, when it gets, I don't know, when it gets to $1, I withdraw 50%. When it gets to $2, I withdraw 25%. Make your plans now so you can use your brain, your frontal lobe. And this is a little psychology lesson for you guys. You want to use your frontal lobe. It's the last part of your brain to develop. It's your thinking, rational part of your brain. You don't want to use your limbic system. It's the first part of your brain to develop. That's your emotional part of your brain. Fight, flight, freeze, all the high emotions. When we are in extreme greed, you're thinking with your limbic system. Again, that stuff develops before you're born. You're not thinking with your frontal lobe, which develops by the age of 25. So make a plan now so you can be smart and not emotional with your decisions. Guys, I think I'm going to leave it there. I appreciate you all joining in and watching. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. And yeah, we'll see what happens into elections. Again, this is typically October. We haven't gotten that big volatility yet. I don't know if we're going to, but something to keep in mind.